in the late 1920s. Today, with a population of just over 500, Colbert is a quaint agricultural town that votes overwhelmingly Republican and has a very low cost of living.
When we talk about Colbert, Georgia, we're talking about this very rural area.
It's a quiet, laid-back community, rather rural.
This is good old boy country. This is the South. This is where people take stuff very seriously, like livestock, farming, community, friendship. All of that stuff is taken very seriously. So in many ways it's spread out, but in many ways it's a very small community.
Doug Benton is born on Christmas Day, 1961. He raises exotic birds to sell and is considered a friendly and helpful neighbor.
He was a hard worker, enjoyed lifting weights, and was a pretty average guy.
Doug Benton was a 38-year-old guy living his life, a welder, owned his own business, loved his birds. People described him as a great guy.
Sunday, June 4th, 2000, is a hot and humid day in Georgia. Doug Benton is part of a tight neighborhood. Everyone on the street is on a first-name basis. Doug is in and out that day. There's no mistaking the throaty roar of his motorcycle's exhaust.
Neighbors notice his girlfriend Tracy comes over looking for him. Tracy is a 35-year-old single mother of a teenage daughter who also happens to be the first female deputy in Oglethorpe County, Georgia.
Doug often takes them out for dinner after work, but on this day, June 4th, they don't seem to be able to connect.
2 weeks later, and Doug's friend and neighbor Larry hasn't spotted him since June 4th. He asks around, and when no one else seems to have seen Doug, Larry drops by.
And it begins really on a day when a neighbor of Doug Benton goes over to his house and realizes that Doug's birds, which he was very fond of, are dead. They have no water, and they died. And it's like, well, where's Doug?
Larry calls the police and informs them that something is very wrong at Doug Benton's home.
The neighbor explains to the sheriff that Doug loved his exotic birds and took pride in them.
Doug is 5'9", weighs 250, and is stocky and muscular. He is a power lifter and works out with his girlfriend Tracy regularly.
On June 4th, Larry reports that he hears Doug argue with Tracy, and then he hears the characteristic roar of the exhaust from Doug's motorcycle as he drives away. Later, Larry notices Tracy's truck in Doug's driveway about 3 p.m. Easy to identify. It's a 1998 pickup with tinted windows and a personalized plate. Larry next hears Doug return about 5. Larry knows Doug works welding on construction sites, and it's not out of character for him to be away for a stretch of time, to leave town, or even the state.
But the thing is, Doug would never leave the exotic birds, which are worth over $35,000 at risk. But it's not the money. That's not who Doug is. He's a compassionate individual. He never hurt his birds.
Larry adds that he's noticed Doug's truck parked outside his friend Jeff's house. Police follow up on the lead about Doug's truck. A note is left taped to the windshield.
The note found on Doug Benton's truck is an interesting piece of evidence.
The note reads, "I'll be out of town for a while. Trust you to look after my truck. Don't try to contact me. I'll contact you later, Doug."
Doug has never left his truck with the keys in the ignition before, and his friend finds the action disturbingly out of character. So much so, he fears that Doug is battling depression and may have committed suicide in a nearby abandoned outbuilding.
Authorities inspect the area, but the search reveals no trace of Doug. The truck, however, may yield more clues.
It's towed to the lot of the police department where they put evidence.
Mystified, authorities continue to look for Doug Benton. They decide to do a wellness check in his home. Law enforcement officers enter Doug Benton's home to check to see if he's okay. But Doug isn't there, and they leave the premises.
So that begins this search for Doug Benton. He's missing.
Authorities call the Oglethorpe County Sheriff Department, where Tracy works, to get her input on Doug's whereabouts.
But a deputy says Tracy no longer works there and offers to get Tracy to call them. She does a short time later.
She gave a general information about when she last talked to him and saw him, and that there had been some type of argument, and she said it was over a movie, but the events and time frame that she had was off from some of the information we had.
She says she last saw him on June 4th, and then changes that to June 5th, telling investigators about a convicted drug dealer who she says is threatening Benton's life.
One of the other agents worked in Madison County, and he mentioned that he had a missing persons case, and it involved Doug. They didn't have a whole lot of information on the case. I was in Oglethorpe County, and the investigator got a call about some suspicious in the middle of a field. The caretaker of the property had been riding a four-wheeler the day before and had a flat tire, and they just left the vehicle. So they came back the next day, and they had noticed something shiny out of the tree line. So they went and looked at it and noticed it had been painted camouflage. It had a real peculiar odor about it. It was ironic because there were potting soil that was on top of the concrete, like to hide the concrete, as if maybe they were going to put flowers in there at some point in time.
First of all, he's worried that people are dumping garbage on the property. So he calls in one of the sheriffs. And with the sheriff that day just happens to be a GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation investigator.
And I rode out to the field with him, and that's where we found the watering trough.
The property owner and the caretaker meet authorities, and together they examine the object.
The horse trough was spray painted around it with different colors to make it appear camouflage so it would kind of blend in to the foliage. They have a screwdriver, so they begin chipping away at this cement horse trough, and bang, they hit a pocket. And the stench is unbelievable. But it's also very telling. It's the smell of death.
All right, team, saddle up. I want Q1 full index reports by desk by noon. Are you getting any of this?
Yep, Otter's got the meeting notes. I'll ask it for action items on the channel. And Maria already asked for a budget reminder. Smart.
Got it?
Got it, boss. Otter, you got this.
Precise designs, subtle curves, curated upgrades, elevated design for thoughtful living. Thuma.
Talent's here. Get him on set now.
I'm sorry, is this another car insurance ad?
No. Insurify actually compares insurance rates to show you which one will save you money.
The best part is it's entirely free to use, so you can choose the best car insurance option for you.
Compare and save with Insurify.
Why do our best intentions turn into $1,500 code racks? Why do dreams give way to reality? We get it. Learning something new is hard, especially a new language. So make it easy on yourself with Babbel, the language learning app that teaches real-world conversation for any situation. Babbel is more than vocab memorization. It teaches practical phrases you'll actually use. If your motivation faltered before, Babbel's got your back. With expert-crafted lessons, immersive podcasts, addictive games, and live online classes with real teachers. Say auf Wiedersehen to I give up. Au revoir to it's too hard. And hola to real conversations with real people in a new language. Ready to find your follow-through and start speaking a new language? Get Babbel. It starts here. Start learning today at Babbel.com.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not even in a doctor's office. I'm standing on the streets talking to real people about their heart. How's your heart?
My heart's pretty good.
You sure?
I think so.
How do you know? You're driving a car, you have the check engine light, but the heart doesn't have a hey, check heart sign. I want to show you something. Put both fingers right on those pads. There you go. In 30 seconds, we're going to have a medical grade EKG reading. There it is. That is you. Look at that.
With KardioMobile, you can take a medical grade EKG in just 30 seconds from anywhere. KardioMobile is proven to detect atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke. And it's the only personal EKG that's FDA cleared to detect normal heart rhythm, bradycardia, and tachycardia.
How much do you think this device costs?
Probably $1,000.
$99. Wow, that's impressive.
Get KardioMobile today for just $79. And check out our Prime Day deals at Kardia.com or Amazon. Don't wait. These offers won't last.
All right, time to do some selling. That's going towards rent. Oh yeah, that's going towards girls' night. And that's going towards a new bag.
Your closet is worth more than you realize. Download the Poshmark app and start cashing in today.
I naturally hold a lot of stress in my digestive system, as a lot of women do. When I started taking DSO1, I immediately noticed how much lighter I felt, vibrant, alive. It really helps me stay regular, and you're not bloated at all. I honestly recommend DSO1 to everyone.
Visit Seed.com to start DSO1 today.
Dental insurance. Many employers don't offer it. Medicare doesn't include it. And people who work for themselves often don't consider it. But with Humana, you can still have it, starting at just $18 a month. That's about 60 cents a day. With a Humana dental plan, you'll get 100% coverage for in-network preventive care, such as oral exams, cleanings, and x-rays. Plus, you could save on fillings, crowns, and other dental procedures. How much could you save? There's a quick, easy way to find out. Call Humana now at the number on your screen. A licensed Humana agent will explain your coverage options and give you a free quote. You can choose from a large network with over 100,000 dentists and specialists nationwide. And you can have coverage in as little as 5 days. There are no age requirements, and you can't be turned down. There are a variety of plans to fit the whole family's needs and budget, plus plans designed exclusively for veterans and their families. Humana even has vision plans, too, with coverage for exams, eyeglasses, and more. So whether you're looking for a dental plan, a vision plan, or both, call Humana now at the number on your screen. A licensed agent will explain your coverage options and give you a free quote. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation. Call now and discover the coverage you need at a price that'll make you smile. From Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
38-year-old Doug Benton is a welder, bodybuilder, and exotic bird seller who is part of a friendly neighborhood in Colbert, Georgia. When a neighbor discovers Doug's birds are dying from neglect, he calls police. Authorities do a search of his home, but there's no trace of Doug. 2 weeks later, a strange block of cement with a terrible smell emanating from it is found on some remote farmland. The men continue to chip away at the mysterious, reeking block of cement.
It did have a rotting smell, but based on my experience, I really felt like it was a human. He wound up getting the tractor and used the end of the tractor and sort of tipped it over, and it was a great deal of water. And then we wound up like with a chisel and a hammer, sort of like opening up a can from the bottom.
So they get a hammer and they start chipping away. And they come to a foot. There's a dead person inside this cement horse truck.
He was wrapped in a couple of different shower curtains and material. We opened it up, and the investigator that I was with knew him personally, and he observed his face and also a tattoo that was on his arm that he positively identified him as being Doug.
Investigators must remove the almost 1-ton cement block from the premises using a forklift.
What's interesting about this case is they use these forks on a forklift that are kind of like prongs, and they puncture it and they lift it up. They put it on a truck and they bring it to the medical examiner's office.
Once in the crime scene lab, the process of removing the body from the cement block is initiated.
Then the medical examiner begins to chip away at the cement and reveal this body that's wrapped in 2 shower curtains. And they get the body and it's Doug Benton.
Authorities return to the victim's home for the second time.
So they go over to Doug Benton's house and they believe that maybe this can be a crime scene.
But something has changed between the 2 visits.
And they smell something weird in the house. They smell like a kerosene smell. It's very pungent. So police had already been in his house once, and now they're back after they find his body. But the first time they go in was kind of strange because there was no kerosene smell in there, and there was a blower in there, kind of blowing air around. And nothing appeared to be disturbed at the house.
And someone had tried to set some type of flammable liquid in several different spots.
Doug Benton is missing, but his killer knows that he's in a horse trough on a farm. And then bang, news hits that a body's been found. So if I'm the killer, I better run back over to his house, and I better burn that house down now. And burn all the forensic evidence that's left behind. So that's why you see kerosene smell and candles, because Doug Benton's killer thought, I'm going to go over there, pour kerosene all over the couch, over the carpet, I'm going to light some candles, and I'm going to leave. And it's going to just catch on fire, but it never did. The candles burned out. So they start to look around the house, and they look at the couch, and they kind of see the couch is kind of weird. They pull up the cushion on the couch, and there's a big, huge stain underneath there. And they cut the cushion open, and there's more staining in there. They go under the couch, they pull the carpet back, and there's staining there. It's blood. They do a quick test, field test, and it's blood. Now they look at the couch, and they kind of see what looks to be, could be, a bullet wound through the couch.
The scene yields more clues.
The shower curtain had been completely ripped off of all the ringers, and there was like some portions of the shower curtain still hanging, and it was very similar in color to one of the shower curtains that was wrapped around Doug.
They see scuff marks on the ground leading to the door that leads to a deck. And next to the deck, they see a bush, and some bushes kind of pushed down, like with tracks of a truck.
Another crime scene person came, and we worked all day and thoroughly examined the house. One of the main things, we did find a .22 caliber rifle.
The rifle is seized and taken for inspection.
They go back to the medical examiner, and they're talking about Doug Benton's body, and what do they see on his body? They see one bullet wound, the top of his head. Let's picture the evidence the medical examiner has and the evidence at the crime scene. It appears that Doug Benton was lying down on the couch, maybe sleeping, and somebody shot the guy to the top of the head. Okay, now let's look at what the medical examiner finds. He finds some stab wounds in Doug Benton's belly. There's also some stab wounds in his back. The back stab wounds are post-mortem. So they think those stab wounds happened when they took the forklift and punctured the horse truck to lift it up. They think they might have cut into Doug. But the stab wounds in his belly, those happened when he was alive.
The sheriff's department canvasses the neighbors about any suspicious activity on June 4th, and the search draws out some intriguing responses. A neighbor reports that he hears what could have been a gunshot the day Doug disappears.
Which was on that Sunday afternoon after Doug had come back from riding his motorcycle. The person across the street gave a time frame that was consistent with the evidence that the shot was heard.
In addition to knocking on doors, all of Doug's friends submit to a polygraph test. Police finds them willing to answer questions and anxious to help.
The community is united to find Doug. They also share a lot of the same views.
After a thorough round of questioning, investigators are struck by one thing. All of Doug's friends and neighbors share the same opinion.
There is one single person that everyone is suspicious of in the gruesome murder of Doug Benson.
Prescription eyewear can be really expensive, but here's the secret. Glasses don't actually cost that much to make. Surprise, especially when you design your own eyewear and then sell it directly to your customers, like we do. Oh, hi, we're Warby Parker. Our glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. And the best part? You can try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on getting you the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. But don't worry, we've got a lot more than that going for us. Woo! Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example. It's the perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want with space-age metal housing, we got them. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we've got that too. We even have flip phones like the Iris Flip. If you're someone that doesn't need all that mumbo-jumbo and just wants something simple. And now, we even have watches.
We do.
No matter what device you choose, you'll be happy to know that if your data needs change,
No problem.
with our SmartFlex feature, you don't have to sweat it. Like say you're on a road trip out west and end up using a bunch of data. We can simply flex you up to the next data tier for as little as $5. Then, when you get home, you can flex right back down with no penalty. So you only pay for what you actually need.
With Consumer Cellular, you get the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost.
I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet? Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Will our award-winning customer service help me switch over or add a line for $15 to make my own family plan?
Of course they will.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
You see that tower out there? It's a beauty. And there are thousands more like it, working hard for me and you, supplying 5G coverage to this beautiful nation of ours. We know how important coverage is. That's why we offer a risk-free guarantee. If you're not satisfied within 30 days of activation, you can pay nothing. Oh, look.
New customers who buy any phone get 2 months of service free when they sign up by July 31st.
Call 800-311-5340
or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
She knows what she's talking about. Pick up the phone.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-600-7900 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-600-7900. There's no risk or obligation. 1-800-600-7900. Call now.
They're thinking about their next adventure. You're thinking about their next vet visit. An ASPCA pet health insurance plan helps you afford the care they need. So while they're out living their best life, you can help make sure it's a long one.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
A concrete block hidden on some remote farmland is found to contain the corpse of a missing man, Doug Benton, who is found to have been shot and stabbed. Police return to the victim's home, now believed to be the crime scene, and find someone has attempted to burn it down. Police question Doug Benton's friends and neighbors, and they all appear to share the exact same suspicion.
What keeps coming back to police is that Doug's relationship with his girlfriend Tracy Fortson is extremely volatile. Doug's next-door neighbor hears Tracy and Doug fight often and fight loudly.
Doug meets Tracy in 1997. At that time, she works at a tanning salon right beside Doug's gym.
Tracy is twice divorced. Doug asks for Tracy's number, and they set up a date. But in the end, it's canceled, and neither one feels the push to try again to make it work. But 2 years later, Doug and Tracy run into each other again. She's made great strides in her career.
She wanted to go to the police academy. She was sponsored, and when she got out, then she got a job at Oglethorpe County.
Tracy is now the first female to become a deputy sheriff in the Oglethorpe County Sheriff's Department, so her confidence is soaring. Doug heads straight home and hunts for the number Tracy gave him 2 years earlier, finds it, and calls her right away. This time, the couple's interest is clear, and no one's going to let things fizzle. They start dating. Tracy and Doug appear to be a remarkably good fit. They lift weights and ride motorcycles together.
You know, they like to do what everybody else does. Sit around, watch movies, go out to eat, and go to the gym. You know, that's what they did. They went to the gym.
But the picture is not perfect. According to neighbors, Tracy gets jealous when Doug pays attention to anyone else.
Doug's friends and neighbors say Tracy is frequently waving some really big red flags early on in the relationship.
The relationship was very passive-aggressive. Tracy was very domineering, very controlling. Doug, you do this. Doug, you do that. Doug, you're not going to do this. Doug, you're not going to do that.
Things don't go well for Tracy at work at the sheriff's department. She alleges she's a victim of sexual harassment at work.
The sexual innuendo around her that was being said, you know, the sexually themed jokes, the way she was treated as a woman.
She also believes that she isn't being paid as well as men in her same position.
She really was forced, she says, to quit her job and file kind of a suit against the department. So when she quit her job, she went to work for Doug Benton as kind of his secretary because Doug was a welder. And they just didn't work well together. I mean, they didn't get along, you know? They were together for a while, but they didn't get along, really. They argued a lot.
At some point in time, there was an argument, and somehow Doug found out that she was deleting information about his company.
She went into his work computer and just started deleting invoices so the guy wouldn't get paid.
The work conflicts escalate into dangerous territory.
There was one time where they were working together, and Tracy liked to threaten her own life around Doug a lot. You know, pull out a gun and say, I'm going to kill myself.
There are other incidents reported with Tracy pulling out a gun as means of intimidation. It's typical that men unreport domestic abuse. They'll experience shame and embarrassment and struggle with the cultural ideals of masculinity. They think this kind of thing should be happening to a guy, and especially a Doug Benton, who is a big, strong, masculine man, a weightlifter. And Tracy is this tiny woman, just 140 pounds.
Friends and neighbors report hearing Doug and Tracy have a serious argument on June 4th, the last day Doug is alive.
And that day, Doug finally reaches his breaking point and has enough of Tracy's temper.
That's my understanding, that he had told her it was over. He didn't want anything else to do with her.
The murder of Doug Benton appears to be hate-fueled.
So if I'm an investigator and I'm looking at this case, I'm going to say, well, the person had to be close to Doug. It had to be personal. Because you don't stab someone in the stomach and then shoot him in the head unless it's a personal, aggressive, I'm going to get you back type of murder.
And the killer knew his routine.
Doug never slept in the bed. He always slept on the couch, on his left side, watching TV. Someone was able to come in his house. They were able to get very close to him without disturbing him. That's where the evidence indicated where the shot was fired from, where all the blood had drained into the couch from that wound.
But police need to find the murder weapon.
One of the main things, we did find a .22 caliber rifle, but it was examined by the crime lab.
Ballistic forensic science is really an interesting science because bullets really leave their own fingerprint inside of a particular weapon.
Doug is killed by a Stinger bullet, copper-plated hollow-point premium .22 long rifle rimfire used for high velocity and precision hunting.
Stinger ammunition is not a common ammunition, and it's not a match. That .22 had never fired Stinger bullets, which leave a very distinct pattern in the chamber of a weapon. Doug Benton was not killed with his own gun. But who else had a .22? Tracy Fortson.
When police start to investigate Tracy as a serious suspect, there's a lot of information there for them to see.
I think Tracy had 2 ex-husbands, and there were talk that where she had either hit or struck or threatened her ex-husbands at some point in time.
Now we have an indication that she can be violent against lovers, which is very important in this.
When she's tied to men by the bonds of love, affection, and attachment, Tracy appears to be capable, or maybe even drawn toward intimate partner abuse.
When investigators break out and they start going to all the hardware stores, the Walmarts, the Home Depots to look for maybe where this horse trough came from, bang, they find a feed store. And that feed store describes Tracy Fortson coming into the store and buying a horse trough and some cement. And we find Tracy Fortson on CCTV buying a shower curtain. Doug Benton's body was found wrapped in a shower curtain. It's not looking too good for Tracy Fortson at this point.
After we searched Doug's house and her house, had the witnesses' statements that she had bought the watering trough and the concrete, we felt like we had probable cause to arrest her for Doug's death.
But here's the interesting thing, and it's kind of a game changer. Tracy does something that you just wouldn't expect her to do.
She went to the sheriff's office and turned herself in.
Tracy's adamant she's not guilty, and amazingly, despite all the incriminating evidence mounting, this case may not be what it appears to be on the surface.
I need Q1 full index reports by desk by noon, complete with comprehensive data.
Are you giving any of this? Yep, Honors got the meeting notes. I'll ask it for action items in the channel. And Maria already asked for a budget reminder. Smart. Got it, boss. Otter, you got this.
Confused by the Medicare ABCs? If you have Original Medicare, then you have Parts A and B. Have you considered Part C? Medicare Part C is sometimes known as a Medicare Advantage plan, and it's one of the best ways to help protect yourself from out-of-pocket Medicare costs. If you only have Medicare Parts A and B, there are 3 things you should do. 1, call the number on your screen. 2. Give the licensed insurance agent your zip code. 3. See what Part C plans with benefits are available to you. 1, 2, 3. It's that easy. Medicare Part C plans are available with benefits you may not be receiving with your current plan. If you're losing benefits, moving, or new to Medicare, you may be eligible to enroll in a plan today, but you won't know unless you 1. Call the number on your screen now. 2. Give the licensed insurance agent your zip code. 3. See what Part C plans with benefits are available to you. Medicare Part C plans are available now. Plans may include benefits you are not currently receiving. Call today. You don't get a Medicare Advantage plan automatically. Call to find out if you're eligible for a special enrollment period. If you're losing benefits, moving, or new to Medicare, you may be eligible to enroll in a plan today. If you only have Medicare Parts A and B, there are 3 things you should do. 1. Call the number on your screen. 2. Give the licensed insurance agent your zip code. 3. See what Part C plans with benefits are available to you. 1, 2, 3. It's that easy. Medicare Part C plans are available with benefits you may not be receiving with your current plan. If you're losing benefits, moving, or new to Medicare, you may be eligible to enroll in a plan today, but you won't know unless you call. Call today for your free Medicare benefits review. The call is free. There's no obligation.
Call 800-620-3158. That's 800-620-3158. 800-620-3158. Call now.
The bedroom suite, with deliberate details and modern functionality. For the indoor enthusiast, check in at Puma.co.
I hate going to the car dealership.
Literally.
So I'm going to check out Drive Time.
Drive Time flipped the script on car buying.
I got approved right away. That's me.
I could actually see what my payments are going to be. It's such an easy website to navigate. And look at all these different categories you can filter your cars to. Boom.
And that's what I'm looking for.
And then we'll just schedule a visit.
Nice and easy. Incredible.
If I'd known Drive Time would be this easy,
I definitely would have done this sooner. Drive Time.
That was so easy.
They were gunned down.
this is a Stone Cold Killer.
Now, determined detectives will have to trace the ballistics to track down their shooter.
We are all hands on deck.
Targeted for murder. Next on True Crime Network.
Tracy is reportedly violent in her relationship with her boyfriend, Doug Benton, and men from previous relationships. When Doug Benton's corpse is found encased by camouflaged cement on a remote corner of a rural property, police believe Tracy to be suspect number one.
There's just several things that points her direction, and then the deeper or more we investigated, the more it became real clear that she had something significant to do with his death.
But Tracy Fortson turns herself in, confident that the story she has to tell can topple an investigation that seems weighed against her.
They arrest Tracy Fortson almost immediately.
She wanted a lawyer right away, and she never answered any questions that we had.
But through her lawyer, Tracy has a lot to say.
Tracy Fortson claims she can legitimately explain her purchases.
I own horses, so I bought the horse trough for the horses. Well, Tracy, you bought the horse trough the same time frame that Doug Benton was murdered and found in a horse trough? Yes, I needed a new one. What about the cement? Well, I bought the cement because I was planning on putting in a new porch. And that's why I bought the cement. Well, you bought the cement right around the same time that Doug Benton was found in a horse trough that you bought, buried in cement? Yes.
Are these simply coincidences? Is she a killer? Or is something even more sinister at play?
The cement block that encases Doug's corpse is spray painted in a particular way.
And it was also camouflaged in a certain way of putting the leaves and doing the spray paint that was consistent with her mailbox. It was the exact design that was on her mailbox.
There's those same cans of spray paint colors found in Tracy's garage. And what does she say? Well, I was using them to spray paint my mailbox.
Tracy doesn't deny It's the same paint and the same pattern, because she says her own possessions are being used against her in a frame-up.
Tracy Fortson claims that the cement, horse trough, and paint are stolen from her and used to frame her.
I was framed. I was set up. So they used the cement that I bought and they used the horse trough that I bought to frame me. She says that because she was filing a sexual harassment suit against one of the sheriffs, one of her bosses, that they targeted her and they set her up for this murder.
Doug had supposedly purchased a small cassette recorder for her to keep on her to try to catch the sheriff saying inappropriate things to her. And supposedly she had contacted a local attorney to pursue some type of avenue, I assume, to sue the sheriff.
Tracy, with Doug's help, is planning a major case against police. A case that may cause embarrassment to the police and conceivably a huge payoff for Tracy.
Is Doug Benton's murder a plot to halt Doug and Tracy from bringing a major lawsuit forward? In June of 2000, Tracy Fortson faces a grand jury trial for the murder of Doug Benton.
Witnesses came in and described their part. You know, the feed store person came in and said, that woman right there bought the horse trough, bought the cement from me. You know, and then they find the receipts, they match the receipts up against the time. Ballistics come in, they give a whole presentation on all the ballistic and the gun evidence, which is very significant.